In this lecture, we're going to look at how to improve CreateStudio performance and stability. A lot of these are workarounds, but they keep CreateStudio humming. Sometimes CreateStudio bogs down, and sometimes when working with large projects, it just kind of loses its mind. So we're going to talk about how to prevent this from happening and how to respond to it when it happens. So here's the performance tuning overview. First of all, large projects seem to be at the root of most CreateStudio problems, at least that I've encountered. And we're going to respond to these problems via 4 responses. First is computer system tuning, tuning your computer system so these problems may not happen. Remember that CreateStudio is a computer-intensive program, so you want to make as many resources, CPU, memory, and disk access available to it as possible to keep it humming. The next thing I want to talk about is how to reset CreateStudio if it does lose its brains, which it does periodically. And then we're going to talk about the facts about project resolution. Does it improve performance? Does it improve the resolution of actions taken in the editor? We'll discuss that. And then finally, the bulk of the responses are going to be how to improve editing performance when you're in CreateStudio. So I'm going to tell you some things to do to keep CreateStudio humming. First, let's look at computer system tuning. This shouldn't be anything that you're unaware of. Pause all backups. Your computer system will come to its knees when there's a massive backup going on while you're trying to run a large program. Kill unused programs and even browser tabs. If you have 20 browser tabs open in Chrome, you're going to slow down your system. The same is true if you have massive programs. PowerPoint, Excel, large programs. You don't want them running while you're running CreateStudio. The next is to clean up your system startup files. Don't run a bunch of programs in the background. These can milk your system performance, and you don't even see them, so you don't know what's going on. Stop starting so many system backup files at startup. And finally, tune your system. Periodically reboot it. Cleanse the cache, cleanse the memory, cleanse the CPU, and defragment your hard drive. So go through and do proper system maintenance. The better your system performs, the better CreateStudio will perform. Now next, I want to talk about resetting CreateStudio. Every once in a while, no matter how hard you work to prevent it, CreateStudio loses its mind. It just doesn't work right. This happens primarily with larger projects. So try saving, exiting, and reloading a project when CreateStudio loses its mind. I found that it resets a lot of little quirky behavior within CreateStudio. So use this as a response to bad performance. Next, facts about project resolution. I've seen a lot of stuff saying, oh, well, if I reduce the project resolution from, 1080p to 720p, it's going to perform better. Not true. This does not affect the resolution of the objects within CreateStudio that CreateStudio is working with. It does affect the performance of your rendering. But here's the thing. If I render at anything less than 1080p, MP4s come out kind of fuzzy. I don't like them. So to me, it's worth at rendering time having to take a 15-minute break, go for a walk, and let the system render. Yes, rendering takes quite a while in CreateStudio, but it's worth it to get the 1080p output. Now finally, I want to talk about what you can do within CreateStudio to improve performance. First of all, CreateStudio warns of some features slowing performance. For instance, applying sepia tone, especially to videos. If you want to use such effects, I recommend that you apply them just before rendering, not while you're editing a project. This will improve performance greatly. The other thing that I found that improves performance fantastically is to use the little eye on layers you're not using to wink out the layer so it doesn't appear in the display panel as you scroll or you drag the playhead. That's what a lot of the performance problems I find is that you try and drag the playhead and it won't refresh what the display is. It just cranks along and it's really slow. Well, if you wink out everything you're not working on and you just look at the layers that you are working on, the performance improves greatly. Here's another tip. Split large projects into multiple smaller projects and then merge the MP4s. Working on smaller projects helps performance a lot. So the way to do this, if you have a large project that's running into problems, go to the main panel, duplicate the project, and then rename one half to project space 2 and leave the other one as project name. Go to project and delete the second half of the project. Go to project 2 and delete the first half of the project. That way you're only working on half the project at a time. Now when you get done, just render 2 MP4s and create yet another project to merge them together. You can even put a transition between the 2 MP4s. Now, I can't help but think, I don't have any evidence of this, but that running an MP4 through CS or CreateStudio a second time may reduce the video quality. I don't know. I haven't seen it. This technique seems to work for me. The other point that I want to make about splitting projects is that what it means, have you ever you've got a massive project, right? It takes you 20 minutes to render it. And then you go, oh, I don't like that one thing. And you've got to go re-render the whole thing. If you split it into multiple projects, you'll only have to re-render half or a third of the whole project. It saves you a lot of time. So that's it for CreateStudio performance ideas. In the next lecture, we're going to look at adding backgrounds to your project. I'll see you there.